So, Manchester United have a new manager. Again. Having only had one manager for 27 years, Ruben Amorim becomes the club's 6th manager in 11 years since Sir Alex Ferguson's retirement, or their 10th if you include caretaker managers like Ralph Rangnick and Ryan Giggs. The Red Devils have appointed virtually every type of manager during that time. An experienced British coach in David Moyes, renowned for building a long-term project at Everton, who they sacked after less than a season, proven winners with world-class pedigree in Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho, neither of whom lasted more than 2.5 years, a club legend in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who actually lasted the longest out of anyone in the post-Fergie era, but won nothing, and a promising up-and-coming manager with an excellent record in terms of youth development and operating within a modern football hierarchy in Erik ten Hag, who was sacked earlier this season with Manchester United, languishing in 14th place in the Premier League table. We go live now to the Manchester United boardroom to witness their truly masterful decision-making since Sir Alex retired.
Okay, here. Okay, let's see, what if I did this? You're on your own.
I'm sure that this time things will work out though. It just needed one more managerial change. Everything else will sort itself out. I am practically sure of it. Sir Alex Ferguson's time at Old Trafford, in some ways, was defined by academy graduates. It was an academy graduate, Mark Robins, who scored the winning goal against Nottingham Forest in the third round of the FA Cup in January 1990, which allegedly saved Fergie's job, with the Red Devils already having been knocked out of the League Cup and down in 15th place in the First Division table at the time. And it was the so-called Class of 92, one of the greatest cohorts of academy players of all time, featuring the likes of Giggs, Scholes, Beckham, Butt and the Neville brothers, which played a pivotal role in Ferguson's side dominating the first 2 decades of the Premier League era. Fergie was obsessive and highly hands-on when it came to youth recruitment, youth development, and youth team coaching at Manchester United, but it paid him back tenfold in the long run. Everyone knows about the Beckhams and the Giggses of Fergie's reign, but with that in mind, I thought that it might be a fun idea to take a look at the last 7 academy graduates that Sir Alex handed Manchester United debuts to before retiring, given that 11 or 12 years on, they ought to all be in their early 30s, still in or not far past their primes, but with most of their careers already able to be reflected upon, to see whether Fergie still had his golden touch. I know, I have an odd idea of what constitutes fun, but there are some interesting names in there. Hey, who knows? By the end, maybe you'll agree with me. If you don't enjoy it, there is a free money-back guarantee, 0 questions asked. Without further ado then, who famously did actually go on trial as a youngster at Manchester United under Alex Ferguson, but never signed for them, here are the last 7 academy graduates to make their Manchester United debuts under Alex Ferguson, and where those players are now. 7th, Zeki Fryers, entrepreneur. A beautifully controversial place to get us started, the 7th to last Manchester United academy graduate to make their senior debut under Sir Alex Ferguson was Zeki Fryers. A Manchester native who, like Ravel Morrison, Marcus Rashford and Danny Welbeck, joined the Manchester United youth ranks from local amateur team Fletcher Moss Rangers, Fryers was long-tipped to step up to the first team at Old Trafford. An England international at under 16, 17 and 19 level, Fryers started out at centre-back, but he was moved to left-back due to his speed, athleticism, and impressive ability to play crossfield balls with his left foot. His first team debut was delayed by a serious knee injury which ruled him out for most of the 2010-11 season, but in September 2011, he was handed his debut in a typically makeshift Fergie centre-back partnership alongside Michael Carrick against Leeds United in the League Cup. Fryers went on to play 5 more games that season, but like Paul Pogba and Ravel Morrison, who were part of the same academy cohort as him, Fryers rejected the new 3-year deal that he was offered by the club, either in search of more first-team opportunities or a higher salary, depending upon who you believe. Tottenham had been long-term admirers of Fryers, taking him on trial when his contract expired at Old Trafford, but they balked at the £6 million compensation fee that Man United demanded. Instead, Fryers joined Standard Liège in Belgium, who, as a foreign club, only had to pay £250,000 in compensation. 6 months later, Standard sold Fryers to Spurs for a reported £3 million. The whole thing stank, and Ferguson wasn't quiet about it, accusing Tottenham of, quote, blatant manipulation and calling for a Premier League investigation. No action was ever taken, but Fryers only made 16 appearances at White Hart Lane before joining Crystal Palace, where he played even fewer. In fact, in the 11 years after leaving Man United, Fryers only played 124 games of football in all competitions, an average of barely 10 games a season. That involved dropping down into the Championship, League One, League Two, and eventually non-league, with Fryers briefly joining Macclesfield in the 8th tier of English football in the 2022-23 season. A particular career highlight, in my opinion, probably not for him, was when Swindon Town signed Fryers in 2019, and the club tried to get #IntoTheFryer trending on social media. In February 2023, Fryers joined AFC Eskilstuna in the 2nd tier of Swedish football, where he made 23 appearances over the next 11 months. Age 32, Fryers is closing in on 12 months without a club now, and according to Transfermarkt, he has retired. I can find zero confirmation of that from the horse's mouth though, and I'm not in the business of retiring players for them. Fryers' LinkedIn page still lists him as being a professional footballer, rather than a former one, just without a current club, as well as being an entrepreneur, working part-time for All-Star Gaming Limited and W Banter Tournaments Limited, two seemingly inactive companies. But hey, I find that entrepreneurship is really more of a state of mind. 6th, Larnell Cole, free agent. Alright, admittedly, we're not off to the strongest of starts. Larnell Cole was a superstar in the Manchester United youth ranks, stunning Rio Ferdinand with his skill and audacity to beat him on camera as a 10-year-old, and continuing his development over the next 10 years. Cole, who is of no relation to Manchester United legend Andy Cole, made his senior debut in the same game as Fryers, coming on as a substitute in place of Federico Macheda in that 3-0 League Cup win against Leeds. At the time, Cole was described as being an excellent all-round footballer by fellow academy graduate Paul Scholes, who stated that Cole was supremely confident on the ball, capable of scoring goals and making chances, and that, quote, he knows exactly where he is on the pitch, which is key for a midfielder. End quote. Although Cole never played in the Manchester United first team again, optimism surrounding his potential was reignited in May 2013 when he scored a hat-trick from the right flank in the Under-21 Premier League Elite Group final against Tottenham Hotspur. The Daily Mail ran an article at the time asking, quote, is Larnell Cole the next Manchester United star to roll off Ferguson's conveyor belt? He wasn't. Cole joined Fulham for an undisclosed fee in 2014, but also only ever made one first-team appearance for the Cottagers, going on loan to MK Dons, Shrewsbury Town, and Inverness Caledonian Thistle. After his contract at Fulham came to an end, Cole joined Tranmere Rovers in the National League, who won promotion to League Two in his debut campaign. Back in the EFL, Cole made 10 appearances before he was released by Tranmere, dropping back down into non-league football with FC United of Manchester. Stints at Radcliffe Borough, Flint Town United in Wales, and most recently Warrington Town have followed for the former England Under-19 and Under-20 international. Now aged 31, Cole is currently without a club and, sadly, is engaged in no entrepreneurial activity, at least as far as I can tell. 5th, Michael Keane, Everton. Proudly flying the flag for not all of Fergie's late-stage fledglings being free agents by their early 30s, there is an argument to be had that if Manchester United had never sold Michael Keane, he would probably have played quite a lot of football over the last 5 to 10 years, given some of their defensive woes. Michael and his twin brother Will joined Manchester United together as scholars at 16, having been training with the club since the age of 11, and both represented England at multiple youth team levels. Michael actually represented England's B team on the international stage initially, otherwise known as the Republic of Ireland, before switching at under-19 level when he got the big call-up. That was a joke, alright? Before any Irish get upset with me in the comments. A joke, admittedly, based upon a repeated fact, that keeps happening because the FAI desperately tries to get anyone with even a drop of Irish blood to represent them before they've even turned 12. Keane actually does have an Irish father, so this one wasn't that outlandish, but he was born and raised in England. Keane made his Manchester United senior debut in October 2011, coming on as a substitute in the 70th minute against Aldershot Town in the League Cup. 4 more appearances followed, including a first start 11 months later, also in the League Cup, this time against Newcastle, along with a quartet of loan moves to Leicester, Derby, Blackburn and Burnley. Keane won the Denzel Haroun Reserve Player of the Year award in 2012, ahead of Jesse Lingard and Larnell Cole, but in January 2015, 4 months into his loan deal with Burnley, the Clarets signed Keane on a permanent basis for a reported £2 million. That proved to be an almighty bargain for Sean Dyche's side, as Keane went on to rack up over 100 appearances at Turf Moor, became a full England international, and joined Everton for a potential £30 million. Now in his 8th season at Goodison Park, age 31, Keane is effectively a backup to Jarrad Branthwaite now, but he has caused his old boss Sean Dyche 1 or 2 headaches this season by performing well in Branthwaite's absence. Nonetheless, the youngster is too good to leave out, which means that, despite his impressive form when he has stepped in, Keane is likely to remain a rotation option this season. Capped 12 times by England, Keane's last cap for the Three Lions came almost exactly 4 years ago, and it would take a strange set of circumstances for Thomas Tuchel to recall him ahead of the 2026 World Cup. 4th, Will Keane, Preston North End. Whilst Michael Keane started out in the Republic of Ireland youth ranks, but went on to represent England, twin brother Will Keane started out in the England youth ranks, but went on to represent the Republic of Ireland. Without wishing to cause any further antagonism, that is actually quite telling about their respective career trajectories. At a young age, Will Keane was held in extremely high regard by Manchester United and Alex Ferguson. A regular for England at under 16 through to under 19 level, Keane won the Jimmy Murphy Young Player of the Year award in the 2009-10 season, following in the footsteps of the likes of Paul Scholes and Ryan Giggs. The following season, Keane reached yet new heights, scoring 16 goals in only 17 games for Man United's under-18s, including 8 goals in 6 games as the Red Devils lifted the FA Youth Cup. His first team debut arrived as a substitute in a 3-2 home defeat against Blackburn Rovers in the Premier League, but before he could make his second, Keane ruptured his ACL away on England duty. It would be another 4 whole years before Keane played for Manchester United again, following stints on loan at Wigan, QPR, Sheffield Wednesday and Preston, and he only added 2 more appearances and no goals to his overall haul at Old Trafford. In 2016, the club that I support, Hull City, then managed by Sir Alex's former assistant Mike Phelan, signed Keane for £1 million. Within a few months, Keane's knee had gone again. I was there away at Burton Albion when Keane scored his only goal in 26 appearances and 3 seasons in a Hull City shirt, and, to be quite honest, if you'd have told me when he left us that he would carve out a successful career in the Championship for himself, I would have found that very difficult to believe. It is a massive credit to him that Keane bounced back from those successive knee injuries to score prolifically for Wigan in League One, returning to the Championship in 2022. He joined Preston in 2023, and he was the club's top scorer with 13 goals last season. It's impossible to know what might have been for Will Keane were it not for injuries, given his promise within the Manchester United youth ranks. Alex Ferguson said that he would have been in the first team the following season, but given those setbacks, the 31-year-old deserves plenty of credit for reviving his career and not falling off the map. 3rd, Ryan Tunnicliffe, Adelaide United. Another Jimmy Murphy Young Player of the Year winner, Ryan Tunnicliffe added some grit and defensive intent to that 2011 FA Youth Cup winning 11, in a midfield which also featured the likes of Paul Pogba and Jesse Lingard. Sir Alex's third to last academy debutant, and the first of his final season in charge, Tunnicliffe's first team debut came in September 2012, when he was a 77th minute substitute in a 2-1 League Cup win against Newcastle. Tunnicliffe's debut at 19 earned his father £10,000, who had placed a bet on him representing the Red Devils when he was only 9 years old. But that was one of only 2 appearances that Tunnicliffe ever made at Old Trafford. Signed by Fulham in 2014, having impressed on loan at Peterborough and Ipswich, Tunnicliffe barely featured in the Premier League, but became a regular fixture at Craven Cottage after Fulham were relegated. Interestingly, both Tunnicliffe and Larnell Cole were signed by Fulham under René Meulenstein, a former first-team coach at Manchester United under Sir Alex, just as Will Keane was signed by Hollander Mike Phelan. In the summer of 2015, Tunnicliffe was suspended for 2 matches and fined £5,000 after he called Patrick Bamford a, quote, sausage boy on Twitter. Tunnicliffe continued to play regular football in the Championship for Millwall and then Luton Town, before dropping down into League One with Portsmouth in 2021. A mainstay at Pompey for 2 seasons, in September 2023, Tunnicliffe joined Adelaide United in the A-League, a supporter of whom told me, in no uncertain terms, that he, quote, hasn't been very good. Strong words there. Not my words, ladies and gentlemen, but the words of an Adelaide United supporter. Still, at least he stopped calling people sausage boys on Twitter. Second, Scott Wootton, Wellington Phoenix. Alex Ferguson's penultimate academy debutant, Scott Wootton, who is not to be confused with the disgraced journalist Dan Wootton, made 4 appearances for Manchester United, all of them in Sir Alex Ferguson's final season in charge. The last of those 4 came against Chelsea in the League Cup, where Wootton conceded a penalty in injury time in extra time, which was converted by Eden Hazard. Manchester United had tried to sign Hazard that summer, but he chose Chelsea, and the Red Devils signed Shinji Kagawa instead. Hazard's penalty resulted in Chelsea winning that game 5-4 after extra time, and Wootton subsequently joined Peterborough United on loan. Wootton is probably best known for being a solid signing as a Championship or League One club, on a couple of editions of Football Manager, but never quite making that step up if you won promotion to the Premier League. Or at least, that's what he's best known for by me. In some ways, Football Manager called that one pretty well. Wootton was signed by Leeds United for £1 million in 2013, where he made 74 appearances for the Championship club over the next 3 seasons, before joining League One MK Dons on a free transfer. A move to Plymouth Argyle followed, where Wootton was both relegated to and promoted from League Two. After joining League One rivals Morecambe in the summer of 2021, Wootton's contract was terminated by mutual agreement upon his request after just 6 months, in order to facilitate a move to Wellington Phoenix. The second successive A-League player to feature in this 7, just 2 months into his time in New Zealand, the Knicks offered Wootton a bumper 3-year contract in order to tie him down. Wootton formed a formidable centre-back partnership with Finn Sermon, now of Portland Timbers in Major League Soccer, early on in his time in Wellington. He has now made 78 appearances for the club, and, again, not my words, but I am reliably informed that he has been, quote, quite good. First, Robbie Brady, Preston North End. A teammate of Will Keane's for 5 years at Manchester United, and for the last year and a bit at Preston North End, Robbie Brady was the last Manchester United Academy graduate to be handed a first-team debut by Alex Ferguson, and the last Manchester United player to be sold by Alex Ferguson. Brady made his one and only first-team appearance for Manchester United as an 86-minute substitute, replacing Alexander Butner at left-back in a League Cup game against Newcastle United. Brady had spent the previous season on loan at Hull City, where Nigel Pearson enjoyed a good relationship with Fergie at the time. In November 2012, the Tigers took Brady back on loan as he struggled to make the Manchester United first-team squad, and in the January window, they signed him on a permanent basis for an undisclosed fee, thought to be around £2 million. Brady proved to be a shrewd signing for Hull, becoming a wing-back in a 3-5-2 formation under Steve Bruce, and playing a key role in Hull's promotion to the Premier League. Following 2 seasons in the top flight, Brady joined Norwich City for £7 million after the Tigers were relegated, and 6 months after the Canaries suffered the same fate, Brady joined Burnley for a club record fee, reported to be worth £13 million. 4.5 years at Turf Moor followed, but the Clarets never got their money's worth out of Brady, who suffered a series of both long and short-term injury setbacks. A knee injury in late 2017 ruled Brady out for 12 months, and a string of muscle injuries prevented him from ever returning to his best. It must be said that a lot of Fergie's last 7 academy debutants, Brady, Will Keane, Scott Wootton, suffered significant injury setbacks throughout the course of their careers. I'm not blaming him or suggesting that it is any more than a coincidence, to be clear. It's just an interesting observation. Admittedly, the word interesting is doing a lot of heavy lifting there. We'll go with mildly curious. Following a season at Bournemouth, in which Brady only made 7 appearances, Ryan Lowe decided to take a chance on him after Preston took him on trial. Happily, and it is always nice to have a happy ending, isn't it? Oh, okay, not like that, honestly. Some of you people make me sick. Brady has managed to stay largely injury-free at Preston, making 36 appearances in his debut campaign and a further 32 last season, although I am saying that at a time where he is sidelined with an ankle injury, his first significant setback in more than 2 years. A quality player at his best, Brady has been capped 68 times by the Republic of Ireland, returning to the national team setup in 2024. For all of his club exploits, it is probably his winning goal against Italy at Euro 2016 that Brady will be best remembered for. Well, that and when he went down injured and fellow Irishman Stephen Quinn kicked a ball against his head. So, those were Sir Alex's last 7 academy debutants. What a star-studded crew, none of whom, it should be noted, made more than 5 appearances for Manchester United. The 3 academy debutants before them, Paul Pogba, Tom Cleverley and Ravel Morrison, played a fair bit more first-team football, as did the first of the post-Fergie era, Adnan Januzaj, who was followed by James Wilson, now of Northampton Town, and Tom Lawrence, who currently plays for Rangers. That is it for today's video, another Where Are They Now video, which I hadn't made for ages, but a few of you enjoyed the last one, so I thought I'd make another one. Hopefully you enjoyed that also. Hit the like button if that was the case, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and of course, make sure that you are subscribed and have notifications turned on, not just for this channel, HITC Sevens, but also my second channel, Alfie Potts Armour, both of which should be about to appear on your screens now, so, you know, it's very low effort. I've done all of the heavy lifting here. And there are also a couple of videos that should be about to appear on your screens that, you know, mate, you might fancy watching after this one. YouTube's algorithm thinks you might anyway, and, you know, they've probably spent a fortune on that, so it should be pretty tight. You can also find me on Twitter, Instagram, or Threads via the username at HITC Sevens on all 3, should you wish to do so. And all of those links, plus a whole lot more nonsense, should be down in the video description below. Cheers.